To another semi-final here on today's Kung Fu Cup. Top left-hand side, red Protoss player. This is Classic. Top right, our blue Terran from Team Liquid. This is going to be Clem. As we get game number 1 of this best of 3 up and operational, guys. Let's see what happens. Let's see what goes on. Excited to see how this is going to go. Excited to see what these guys have in store for us. Clem Classic, I think, is a really fun matchup. Classic's been playing great, and Clem has clearly not been playing super brilliantly in TvP. He's definitely had some struggles and some issues. It's not been easy. Top probe. Comes moving across the map. I have ourselves a gateway coming up, probe coming in, racks on the way. Behind the barracks fight, as the probe and the SCV drill at each other. Just finding some little bits of damage. Factory is now on the way up as well. So we get that factory on the go. See where we head. Let's see if Clem can find some good damage early. See what his plan will be. Probe does move to the upper left-hand side. Next is still coming together as well. Reaper fight's just going to be going after this pylon. Just going to get some damage done. The Reaper wants to hop back up, just see our Stargate coming through. The next is still building. And it's up and operational as we do just see the depth continue to shade around after that Reaper. We'll actually get 2 shots off here. Has to get a grenade to try and save it, but Reaper will die, so nice catch from Classic. And a Reaper kill is a big plus. Phoenix kill coming up. We're just going to have ourselves the Cyclone coming through. Phoenix moves through the top side. And Wolfgate coming up as well. Medevac also coming in from Clem. More Marines coming out as well here just for the moment. So just getting all of that on the go. Medevac pulls back over, and obviously is ready to go and try and deal some damage to Clem. Looking to get in here early towards Classic's main base, moving forwards right now. Phoenix out of position fighting a Cyclone over there, and this is, well, for Clem, an ability to get rid of a pylon at least. The Widowmine's going to kill an Adept. Kind of a big deal. There's not a ton of units here from Classic, so losing 1 already is absolutely a fairly sizable factor. Most few Marines still firing away. Actually, Phoenix is going to try and intercept a Viking, but the Viking survives and we lose a Phoenix as Classic supply blocked as well. Gets out of that, but this is all going wrong for Classic early. As Clem is able to maintain position across the map now. And even just being able to hold here is a huge deal, just being able to keep his army up. It goes such a long way for Clem, does so much for him. As our Marines now, Phoenix gonna fight. Super Battery doing what it can. Phoenix getting knocked down. Cyclone gets picked up. And Clem comes back over to the left-hand side where he's had a lot of success. Wants to try and finish off the Cybercore, but let's see. There's still a Widow Mine there. Liberator needs to be careful. It's going to get jumped on as well. Clem maybe a bit haphazard with the way he's reinforcing here, because that really is just rallying into where your opponent is expected to be. I think Classic does know where that Widow Mine is, so he's trying to play around that position. I'm trying to keep the most hurt Cyclone back. It's one shot away from dying to the Immortal. And what's Clem reinforced with now? Another Cyclone, but that's just going to walk straight in again. Reinforcements are taking a lot of hits as we have now the Immortal locked onto, but it will be able to get away. And this is all going to be starting to settle down here. Clem a little bit better off in terms of resources lost, but well, we'll see how the follow-up goes for him. Third CC is finishing. He is going to have Stim now starting, so ready to play into the bio from here. Nexus gets dropped down. RoboBase still building through. Classic now making some real steps towards his Phoenix Colossus style, after obviously being slowed down up until this point. Orbital floats over, gonna land in a moment, get onto that triangle as Phoenix will just zone out any potential drops around the top side, and this game is going to get to another kind of stage. So our Phoenix going to go through a couple of SCVs, begin to get knocked off here. There's actually going to be 5 workers killed, not a bad start. Stalkers, the Immortal's going to start pressing forward. Tank goes down here very quickly. Clem's just out of position to deal with this big push. And we will lose a few SCVs here because of it too. Obviously, Phoenix are shouldn't show up. Do they have limbs to get rid of the tank? We actually just target the tank down anyway. Vikings show up though to get rid of the Phoenix. Multiple Phoenix going down. Clem pulling SCVs to try and survive. Obviously, if the Phoenix die, we can land the Vikings as well, although we might want to keep the Vikings in the sky just to keep them alive for when the Colossi come to play. Colossus showing up in a moment, and Vikings will want to lift back up. Marines not going to love the Colossus being here. We actually just started to run away the moment the first shot was fired, because the Colossus laser beams are going to do a lot of splash damage to Marines that are already been stimming and moving around a lot. So just trying to escape away from that. As you see more Marines, we'll pop back into the medevac. And we're going to start pulling away. So the tank gets sieged up, a couple of SCVs come in to try and get repaired. Excuse me. There's a couple of SCVs still coming about. Medevac around the left-hand side. Extended thermal lens coming through. Stargate and the fleet beacon coming up as well. More gateways still in production. As you do see, our Marines continue to unload back out from the medevac here. So bringing those back along. I'm just going to have Clem trying to poke around in the bottom side. See if there's any opportunity for damage dealt in this direction. Although it doesn't really look like there's going to be much of a chance. For the moment, at least. Fire still coming across, couple closest shots firing. Tank getting sieged up. As the Tempest comes through here as well from Classics, it gets that underway. More shots still coming down, +1 attack and armor on the way. Concussive shell's about to finish. Combat shield's halfway done. We're going to find one tank in the back there, going to get caught. So that is going to get grabbed. Now a few of these probes getting picked away at as well. Vikings going to try and get rid of this Phoenix, which they will be able to do. And now, well, the Vikings are able to go on the Colossus, but the super battery is going to be very powerful and it's in a great place. Can't really be denied. As Clem pushes around this corner, is absolutely spot on to keep the Colossus alive there. That was a fantastic position for the super battery. And now the Tempest out is Classic. Playing into these Tempest very quickly, absolutely going to push Clem away. And Clem going to have a tough time pushing into the Protoss anymore, which is tough because you're going to have a tough time pushing in just as this game gets to a point where you kind of want to be pushing in and stopping the guy getting up to carriers. Clem is trying to not play too afraid of this army, but I actually think he does have to respect it. I think he's genuinely in a bit of a weird spot. Extra starport comes up from Clem. He starts a Ghost Academy too. Yeah, this position feels very, very strange right now as you see a bit of bio still coming forwards. The Stalker's still being chased out of here. Medevac will load up one tank already, and our carriers, our Prism, continue to come through. +1 air weapons is about to finish. Stalker's still chasing down a siege tank. As the Medevac lifts off, pulls back further away as well. And you do have the +2 air weapons coming up from Classic, still bringing that into play also. That one more Adept continuing to come about. Stargate is coming up. This army gathers up just on that third base. Prism moves out over the right-hand side. Yo, Merham, how you doing? Tier 3 resub at 65 months. Thanks for all the content and passion. Hell yeah, thank you so much for supporting on Tier 3 as well. Appreciate going above and beyond. As the Prism here is dead. One more Viking shot and we are good to shut that one down, so that will fall. Bio gathering, still gonna see our +2 air weapons coming up, +2 ground attack on the way. Blink is starting as well. A whole bunch of extra gates in production. Out of Classic right now. Just see the Chief Vikings gonna get gathered back up together as well. Vikings 3-shot prisms? No, there was Marines underneath the prism as well. That did a lot of the damage. That just allowed the Viking to finish up. Was the final a best of 5? Yes. Finals of the Kung Fu Cup are best of 5. Army still moving about here. Vikings bio coming over. We are going to see a couple of laser beams dropping on down. The Vikings still coming across. In the bottom left corner, a little bit of a push into that corner as well. And Classic might lose the 5th base. That's the challenge for him actually getting towards base 5 as those Vikings firing big time. Nothing able to come out as a response. One temper shot, but nothing major. Prism going to show back up, but guess what? Units in position. Great defense from Clem. Immediate shutdown on that Prism is so good for him. Just gives you such an easier time. That's absolutely fantastic. Next is taking a few more shots. Storm coming up, +2 attack coming in, +2 air weapons as well. All coming about as we get our Nexus settling down. Bio through the middle of the map. There's an observer right there. That is... I want to see this. Good information for Classic, but he is also going to have to deal with this dart up the left-hand side. Clem still has this group of units that might start to pull Classic back a little bit, even if he's aware of this army here. First Storm is good, and Clem's not watching, so he eats some damage. The army on the left side can only do so much before lifting up and going elsewhere, although into the main base might have a lot of potential. These Vikings should be able to get rid of at least that top side carrier. They're hitting a lot of the interceptors right now, but there's going to be a lot more interceptors arriving, and Classic's army is still very difficult to deal with. Again, the drop in the main base of Classic is going to be an issue for him, and that's something that Clem is going to try and make the absolute most of right now, as Classic pushes Clem away, is able to take that forward base as a 5th. We're going to lose the fleet beacon, though. Going to lose the cyber core as well. That's going to be +3 air weapons stop, so that's actually a fairly big deal. Clem just now getting his +1 ship weapons. And yeah, there's just no response. I mean, Classic just refusing to do anything about this group of units. Please finish the cyber core, Clem. He's not going to, is he? And he's going to let that cyber core live, not thinking about the air weapon upgrade that he could have denied. He's actually going to unload these units to just try and fight out. He realizes that this army may not be getting away, but it's also going to buy time where Classic is up over there, and now Clem is going to run onto this base, and Classic is going to find himself completely out of position once more. Unload a couple more units here. The battery will continue to take some shots. It's going to be taking some extra hits. This base goes down, and again, a Terran that is keeping the Pros on 4 base, so at least we'll have a shot here. Vikings still not in one-shot range of the carriers, which is a shame. Otherwise, they could have had a couple there. As well. Oh, these units trying to escape, low HP, and they get stormed into a lot of losses as well. This one vehicle plating is about to finish up. Vikings going to come through. But the ship getting chased away. Carrier's getting shot at still. Bio continuing to fight. Well, these Vikings absolutely doing pretty decently. Able to stay alive for a long time. Allows them to chew through a lot of the carriers. The ground army of Clem is running a little shy though, and there's still going to be a few air units left over. Problem is, this fight happens right on top of Clem's base, which means that Classic will be able to keep on fighting, will be able to keep on moving through, and Clem is never going to get the chance to reinforce, and that's why our red Protoss player, this is going to be Classic, taking the 1-0 lead in the best of 3. Bottom right, Blue Terran from Team Liquid. It's Clem. Well, let's see what Game 2 has in store for us. See what the plans may become over the next couple moments. Excited if Clem brings us back to Game 3, actually. Love to see it. Probe comes in, nibbles at the SCV. Let's see Zealot coming over, and obviously engineer in bay block. Zealot is going to be a way to help deny this. ASAP, try and limit the amount of time that Nexus can't come in for this. SCV trying to get more HP on it. Cheeky from Clem, and he does get that SCV out on low HP in the end, so able to keep that SCV alive. This SCV is still trying to come back in. Clem will try everything he can to block as long as possible. Just wants to cause as much disruption as he can to the game plan of Classic, so just trying to be as much of a nuisance as he can be. Reaper shows up, Zealot backs it up. See our Stargate coming through. Vault Gate coming up as well. Single Adept gonna shade around. Reaper gonna get pushed about a little bit. Zealot still trying to chase. Adept coming through. It's gonna go and put in here as we have now the Nexus is able to build. And the Stargate, the choice from Classic, obviously saw Stargate play last time as well, opening with those Phoenix. I'm wondering if Clem, I mean, obviously a bit of a bigger map, so this map may not see as much kind of early game aggression and back and forth and everything, so that could be an intriguing way in which everything gets kind of mixed up and changed up, so things to watch for the moment. Let's get this settled in. Reaper comes out, heading back up towards the top. Phoenix coming through, Cyclone is building, Medevac as well, a couple more Marines coming about. Phoenix gonna lift up that Reaper, the two Adepts trying to come in. We'll see, one Reaper does go down as the Adepts do get a catch there. Adepts come back out into the center, Medevac and Cyclone going back across Marine as well. And Phoenix continues to head back down to the bottom right-hand side. That's painful. Marines get some good damage to then let the Widowmine finish up the Phoenix. It's a big catch. We talk a lot about Phoenix dropping, and obviously Phoenix is the kind of thing you want to kind of keep going throughout the game. Being able to kind of grab one early and to stop that Phoenix count from ever growing too much. Pretty big deal, as the medevac of aggression from Clem is now coming over. No third just yet, but one fight less. Phoenix, again, just going to be that much tougher to hold on against this pressure. We've got a couple of Phoenix coming in from the right-hand side. The Widowmine gets burrowed, so that's going to be a factor here as well. These Phoenix want to do, obviously try and stay clear of the Widowmine, that's for sure, after their brother fell earlier on. Cyclone locks onto the Cybercore again. Phoenix come through, lifting up the Widowmine. A couple of Adepts coming about. Go back and forth. Cyclone locking on again. Zealot's still taking some shots. Going to be going down. The Phoenix pull back towards the ramp. Back towards the natural just in general here. As we have the units of Clem also coming over. Widowmine going to get burrowed up. We're actually going to turn ourselves towards the Cybercore here on the main base. Wall off once again. Let's continue to go out down to the bottom right-hand side. Look to cut off reinforcements. If Clem wants to just rally over and make this as strong a push as possible, well, he's going to have to struggle for it. That's not going to be made easy here in the slightest. As a few Phoenix continue to gather in just for the moment. And again, Immortal, Stalker coming up, Command Center, and a couple of additional SCVs coming out also here. Phoenix is still gathered. We do see Cyclones, Marines. Moving back to the bottom side of the map. You have the Phoenix coming in, getting rid of a couple of different SCVs now. 3 workers going down, and we actually come across to pick away at even more as well. Liberator gets sieged up. We're still seeing those the recall coming in to actually try and chase this Lib down, clean it up as soon as possible. Clem pulling that Liberator back. The rest of the army showing up as well, though. Marines and Cyclones are going to be here. We turn around for actually 2 Phoenix because we commit to kill the Liberator, but I think that was a mistake. Can this group of units get out of here alive, though? 2 Immortals showing up, and Clem, bit of a weird spot. Still enough Phoenix to get lifts, and that means he can guarantee some kills. And Viking is low. The medevac is low. New Cyclones show up, though, and with extra Cyclone firepower, that might be too much. And again, Classic can't really afford to lose too many Phoenix. But he's still pushing forward. He's still chasing Clem down. He doesn't even have that much Phoenix energy. It's not even that many lifts available anymore. Seems a little bit rough to really try and make anything else happen here. And it looks as though we're going to stop trying to make anything else happen here as well. Anyways, pulls back, decides to back away from this for now. Decides to chill out a little bit instead. So just seeing a couple more SCVs being brought on into play, bringing those up, getting all that going. Just for the moment, our Colossus, our Sentry being brought in as well. I'm just going to move a 3rd base into position, so just going to come across here too, get that underway. Order Command is going to land. Again, Marine Tank Viking back out over the left-hand side. Phoenix here, already taking some shots. Cyclones coming over as well. We do have this army of Clem. Big push to the upper left-hand side right now. Stargate, Fleet Beacon. Again, just Classic loves to make that transition into air toss as soon as possible. Vikings are firing. Colossus still taking damage. A couple tanks shooting at the Stalkers. As you see one Stalker knocked down, tanks are still pressing through. Another tank showing up. Continue to try and make something of this here as the army from Clem gets set to the front. Vikings again going after that Colossus. A few more shots coming about. Marines and Cyclones continue to get settled in. Going to go after the battery here for just a moment or so. Just going to get rid of that as well. I mean, big push from Clem and Classic. He has those couple Tempests popping out. It's similar to the last game, getting the Tempest out, hoping that can kind of push Clem back and then buy him time to move into carriers. Interesting to see such a similar game playing out straight after as well. We land the Vikings. That can't be the choice, right? When there's Colossus here, surely not. That's a mistake from Clem. He does kill one Colossus super quickly. Next Colossus dealing some, taking some damage, but does survive. Super Battery fading away, however. And now we've got these Tempests, and again, they will just deal damage from afar throughout this, and so Clem will not break through. Oh, the medevac, that's low. I was going to say, if we got 2 shots on that at the right time, that could have been deadly for all of the units that were inside as well, so that could have been a major problem on top of it. Now this Viking in the center going down, another Marine falling, Marauder going down, another Viking going down, Clem is rallying, and now Classic feels safe enough to begin building carriers. 4 Tempests, only 1 Colossus still alive. Would maybe like to see some more of that to really, again, help him out on the ground force. Otherwise, he might just end up overwhelmed there. That could become an issue. And more carriers coming up. The Twilight Council still coming in. Our next is still building +1 attack, +1 fire attack. All being brought to play for the moment. Tempest, Stalkers, Colossus, Phoenix coming across. Phoenix is going to lift up the Marine. Marine will go down. Tank sieging, Cyclones. And knocked down as well. Tempest continue to put some work in at the moment. Gonna get a couple of lifts here. I mean, can't believe Classic is playing so aggressively into the middle of the map. This feels like a disaster waiting to happen. A disaster just like this one, pretty much. You don't have that much of a ground force, Classic. Why are we so far forward? Your strength was in being able to hold off because of the Tempest. You're building into carriers. Your future is about to be really good. Why would you put yourself in danger in the middle of the map? You know? Seems kind of like a crazy decision. Seems very much like a crazy decision, honestly. And carrier Stalker still coming up, +1 flyer attack. +1 air weapons, +1 ground weapons, all coming through. We do see Clem having to back away in the end. Clem definitely taking control there. He got rid of a bunch of the Tempest. That's going to be nice to have out of the way for the future as well. Going to be another bonus to all the rest of this. Fire coming up to the top. We will see our pylon taken out. Stalker, 2 Stalkers taken out. Vikings moving forwards. Interceptors flying forwards. Just don't see this ever being enough from Classic to really hold off Clem here. As this time the carrier number is just not going to be that kind of overwhelming. The Interceptors are just dying because there's enough Marines and there's no damage to get rid of those Marines either. So there really is just no stopping this massive bio from just overwhelming as we press on through. These Zealots as well do not have charge. Oh yeah, Twilight Council was apparently non-existent here, so yeah, this is very simply going to be a push that should never really end from Clem. I mean, there's just nothing that deals damage to his army at the moment. Even if you warp in Zealots, Stalkers, everything there melts. The Colossus shows up, but here come Vikings as well. Going to get rid of the carriers, get rid of the Colossus. Clem will take game number 2. We tie this up to go to a game 3 of the best of 3. We'll watch it from the loading screen because we're that excited to take us in game. Like I say, it could be a long game. I do think so with the way that Clem likes to play and everything. Could be very interesting. In the top right-hand side, our Blue Protoss player took the first game, tried to pull off the same strat in the second, but kind of got overzealous in the middle of the map. Really think that was the opening that Clem utilized to take him down. Classic in the top right, representing Twisted Minds. Still, of course, as he is up against the Red Terran player. Just mentioned his name. He is Clem, and he is from Team Liquid. And he's tied up this series to keep this run alive in the Kung Fu Cup. Nothing simple for Clem today. This is the 3rd time he's been into a game 3 against a Protoss player. He did 2-0 Nightmare, but he went 2-1 against Trap, 2-1 against Jaishi. So it has definitely not been the easiest of days from Clem. Definitely one of those grinded out kind of days. Lots of games played. We're now 4 hours into the tournament. Grand finals with Solar against the winner of this will follow. That being a best of 5. Probe comes over, Cybercore coming up. And Barracks is about to finish here from Clem, so we can get the first Reaper on the way. Let's get that going. Clem versus the world. Yeah, well, we have very much so been following the Clem matches. Throughout the course today, it just kind of made sense with the other matches that were ready at the time. Actually had a lot of long games at the start of the day as well. Pro pulls back home. We're not going to be seeing our factory on the way from Clem, going for this factory before expansion early on. Have ourselves the Robo facility coming up. Starport still building. And the Adept gonna try and fire through. Deal with this Reaper, which does turn around, so just get away from the Adept for the moment at the very least. Step pulling back up to the top. Robo facility, couple probes. Sentry on the way. Warp gate is coming through as well. So yeah, Reaper trying to get into the front. The Adept is going to be there. Turn that Reaper back around. The battery will come up. Just have this Reaper. You want to move across. Hop into this main. Not really a lot going on here. Sentry pops out. Warp gate is still at researching. Obviously, there's not very far to go with the Warlock being there as well. Clem decides to just go into the natural, and he does spot the Robo as he moves. There's, of course, a switch from the earlier stages of this series where we were just seeing Stargate, Stargate, Stargate as the opening out of Classic. So that is going to be something a little bit different here this time around. Now have ourselves a Stalker coming up in production to continue to come through with this ball for the moment. Starport lands onto the tech lab. Going to bring that across too. Moving about, seeing where we're going, seeing what we want to get up to. Gonna have ourselves the Reaper and the Cyclone, starting to put some pressure on, some damage being dealt at the front here. Once again, just Clem trying to make the absolute most of this in these early stages, similar to the previous games. Just trying to find as much as he can in the early stages. He does get himself the pylon, the depower, and the gateway as well is obviously a pretty big deal. Classic supply block from all of this as well, so this does add up. Absolutely working against you right now is Classic, who is not having the best first few moments of the game. Not much is for sure. More probes going down. Continue to put some pressure in. Those two probes dropping off just for the moment again. And we continue forwards. Charge on the way up, Nexus on the way. Obviously, this is the Temple Archives as well, but here's a Banshee as Clem's already done good damage early, and now going to get even more done. Going to find multiple probes. There's just no units nearby. The battery saves multiple probes, though. That is a big deal. There is the Cloak. Do we have any Observer ready? We have two out, but none of them are here, apparently. There's one in from the side, and the Stalkers will chase. We will not get enough damage done to kill it, though, so that survives, and now we've got ourselves actually the drop in the main as the medevac comes in, and the Marines will start to unload, coming through for some damage. 9 probes killed here, and Clem is absolutely controlling the early stages of this game number 3, putting himself in a great spot early on. He's got another Banshee on the map, 2 tanks, and a lot of Marines pushing forward. Now, charge will be done soon. Can Classic get enough Zealots up to make that charge matter? That's going to be the big question mark here. Is that something that you can actually get to? Is that something you can make work for yourself? And Banshee's chilling in the top. A lot of units from Clem continue to come through the center. Marines, Cyclone, and the tanks. Start to push up here. One Marine goes down, a couple tanks get sieged. The Zealots warp in. There's not a lot of them yet, right? I said we need some Zealots. We need a lot of them because that's what charge lots are good for. When you've got a lot of them, you can overwhelm, but don't have a lot right now. Bunker on the high ground going to try and force the issue as well. You have a High Temple also moving through, looking for, I assume, just looking for a feedback, but yeah, feedback to the Banshee. Now morphs into the Archon. The tanks are still going big, by the way, as they are going to put some serious work in. These Zealots are getting crushed as Stalker's trying to come through. That tank's still alive, and reinforcements showing up. That Archon ain't going to make the difference. Classic's third in trouble, and now the main base in trouble. Banshee shows up. Stalkers warp in. The Banshee will just back away and try and be an annoyance once again later, but Clem, massive success story here with the third base going down. Clem has found himself a great start here in Game 3, and he is putting himself on the table to get into that grand finals against Solar for some TVZ action in a best-of-5 setting. Banshee coming over, Archon morphing in, couple more Zealots get warped. Immortal Archon still coming up, our Banshee still firing through. Another probe will go down. Rest of that army on the right-hand side gathering together. The Archon firing a few more shots. Stimpack and +1 all coming by. Clem holding the position too. I kind of like it. Holds the position here, waits for his upgrades before he tries to do anything more serious, but refuses to back down. I mean, we'll see Classic just expand to the 12 o'clock instead. And Clem still has the Banshees to kind of, look for some bits and pieces here and there. But I think Classic's just going to go for this, by the way, guys. It'll be the Raven to auto turret and probably absorb a shot or two. I've got to imagine that that is the plan of the Raven. Clem is just not watching, though. He's put the auto turret down in the back in the end. So he gets cleaned up. The Banshee went into the main base. There's still no battery here because obviously Classic is being kind of behind, so he's trying to just, cut corners, and those corner cuttings are costing him another 7 probes now. A battery would have stopped this because it was just the one Banshee. The other Banshee flew out through the top, and the Observer followed it, and so Classic killed it, but it freed up the space in the main for the other Banshee to come on through. And now 24 workers ahead, double army supply. You guys tell me what Clem isn't leading in right now. He is absolutely dominant in this game number 3. He is looking very, very good to get through to today's grand final against Solar. Very good indeed. There's a couple Stalkers who'll fight against said Banshee. Push that around a little bit further. Combat shield still coming up. We got a Marine Marauder on the way out. Another tank coming through. Ghost Academy building about halfway done. The army of Classic just warping in on the front of the Natural, and we'll move on out. How's our third Nexus? Is still getting some chrono boosts going. Obviously, Clem he's set up for the all-in. He is so ready for Classic to show up and just all-in him, because he knows how much damage he's done. I think Clem, in a moment, has small ghost finish, might actually try and get back on the map himself. As Classic is going to move to the center, but I mean, you can't attack into Clem because Clem is so well set up for you to kind of commit. This is probably worth a stim from Clem, honestly. There's a lot of units. Honestly, he could have stimmed. I think he would have had both Archons. He's just being very conservative. It looks as though Classic is just going to send it, so if Classic sends it, then Clem is absolutely right to not stim, I guess, and just to hold back. But now Classic sees what's up, and he starts up a storm. This is why I think you should just go, though, as Clem, right? Because now you're letting him get to storm. Now you're kind of, maybe giving a little bit too much time. As the Raven spots the attempted Prism play over here. So notices that straight away, and uh-oh, the Prism is in warp-in mode! We are going to lose the Prism! No! Gets it out alive! Very close, but it does escape away. So Prism gets out of there, Clem. What does he want to do with the rest of his army? Does he want to move out? Does he want to still hold tight, hold out? For the moment, what is his plan? Command center coming across. You see the auto turrets coming down. We actually got rid of an observer there on top of then going on to some probes. Clem using this as a chance as he's maxed out to now take position across the map, getting into spots right here. Full Liberators will siege. Ghost with plenty of EMPs available. That would have been the moment, actually, if he'd seen those High Templars. They were not split. That would have been the perfect EMP. As Classic trying to take this 4th base. Clem will stem forwards, has to back away from the storms. Finding some EMPs now onto the Archons. Obviously picking your and choosing your spellcasting during this ain't easy, but when you've got so much, it probably doesn't really matter, as that is going to be it. GG's. Clem 2, Classic 1. So Clem